Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Sam Kwak here, and welcome back to the 21 Days of Mental Detox Challenge, where I do this series typically on the evening time, anywhere between 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. So welcome back for you guys who are, you guys have been checking the series out. For those who are brand new, you've never seen this before, you guys are new to this series. Welcome. This is the 21 Days of Mental Detox Challenge, where each day I'm going to share something inspiring, motivational, that's going to add value to who you are. And for those who are following us as a real estate investor, this is going to help you set a strong foundation to who you are, to where you can ultimately transform your business. Now, one of the ways that, one reason why I've decided this series from the first place is because the amount of negativity and hate, all sorts of information that we get thrown into on social media, right? You turn on the TV, there's politics, and I don't know if any of this is really healthy for us, really. And I know it's really important to stay current with the current events, but also it's another thing to make sure we guard ourselves, because any negativity or criticisms or hate that we're exposed to, we can think ourselves to be strong, but our subconscious brain soaks in everything that we hear and we see, and ultimately what comes back out manifests, right, what goes in. So that's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm called to do this series, to kind of combat some of those negativity and hate out there and replace it with some positive, motivational, inspirational information for you guys to take away and incorporate into your life and be applicable. So today we're going to talk about how to set goals. And I know it gets really hokey, it gets cheesy when we talk about, when we're talking about setting goals, but I learned a secret in how to set the goals properly. I think we've not been taught how to set goals properly in ways that we follow through it and we actually accomplish them. And a lot of times when we write goals, we just simply write, hey, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Well, there's a specific science behind setting goals where you can actually trick your subconscious brain to actually, for your entire behavior, for your entire thought process, is literally laser guided focus right into what you want to achieve. So one of the things that I've learned, and this is something I learned from Bob Proctor, who's a self-help guru in the 80s and 90s. What I've learned is when you're setting goals, you always want to write them on a piece of paper. So, right, take a piece of paper, take a pen, and always write it. And there's something about writing versus typing, or thinking it. Writing, there's something called, I believe, motor cognitive cortex, something like that. I'm not trying to be scientific here, but there's a special part in your brain when you write something down, it activates and it sticks with you more than just typing it or hearing about it or just thinking about it. So when you write down your goals, make sure you write down concrete. And I recommend writing your goal every single day, because what happens is you're training your brain, you're training your subconscious to ultimately paying attention to what you have written down. And ultimately what we're doing is we're training our activating system in our brain that allows us to focus, right? There's a part in your brain that is responsible in helping you focus. So what we're doing is we're training our brain, our subconscious brain, to focus on certain things that would get us closer to those goals. So when you write your goals down, rule number one is always write your goals down in past tense. So write them down as if they already happened, right? In past tense. So like if I were to write a goal down, and one of the goals that I have is to make $1 million by end of 2019. So from January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2019, I would have made $1 million in revenue. Now, the reason why you want to do past tense is you're tricking your brain to think that you already achieved it. Okay, you're tricking your brain thinking that you've already achieved it. And what happens is your brain thinks you achieved it, but in reality, you didn't. So there's that disconnect, right? This friction, this tension that happens. And what ultimately happens is it awakens your senses and say, okay, brain thinks $1 million is already there, but in reality, there's not. So your behavior, your focus, everything that you're tuning to, your life, is engaged in making sure that you do have that $1 million, right? Your actions, so what you see, what you hear, what you pay attention to, ultimately gets zoned in on the goal of making $1 million a year. So your mind, your subconscious first has to believe that you already did it in order for your conscious brain to pick up, right? Your subconscious brain right? Your primitive brain, right, is quicker at adapting to those types of trickery, quote unquote. Your neocortex, your more recently developed high power thinking part of brain, can't necessarily catch up to that level just yet. So you have to kind of trick your croc brain, as most people like to refer them to, your older brain, your instinctive brain, to believe that you already have $1 million that you've made. Ultimately, it's going to trigger your frontal cortex to start finding ways for you to start getting that $1 million. I hope this is all making sense. I know we're talking a little bit more sciencey, techno babble. But basically what you're doing is you're tricking your subconscious brain, your deep part of your brain. And then what happens is it starts to give you ideas, right? It starts to say, hey, pay attention to that. Focus on this, right? Do this. It starts to give you ideas for you to take on to actually accomplish your goals. So this is why I want you guys to write your goals in past tense, because it tricks your brain. The next thing is you have to read your goal out loud, right? Read them out, recite them. And there's something about reciting, there's something about saying it that makes a huge difference in the amount of energy you put into the goal. So when you write it in past tense and you say it out loud, you recite it. Again, that's another way to trick your subconscious. And if you have not seen the day 11 of the power of autosuggestion, definitely check it out, because there's a reason why I've emphasized the reciting, like saying it out loud. So when you're setting the goal, make sure you have a time frame as well, right? So you just can't say, I'm going to make $1 million, right? Or I have made millions of dollars. Your brain needs specifics. So when you write your goals down, when you say them out loud, make sure you have a set date. So for me, I would say I would have achieved, or I would have made $1 million by December 31st, 2019, right? Very concrete. It's specific. And also it's got a date where I know there's a deadline. So it's got to be past tense, right? Say it out loud and make sure that it's concrete, it's achievable, and at the same time, it's got a deadline where there's a concrete date, right? It can't be just loose and let it out there and thinking that you can achieve it someday, because someday will never come. You got to set a date. So that's pretty much it, guys. As far as setting goals, a lot of us have not been trained. Another way to also, this is a little bonus. Another way for you to get closer to achieving your goals is to actually have a picture of what your goal is. Right. So if your goal is to have $1 million in your bank account by next year, like print out a fake bank statement that says $1 million as a cash balance and stick it right in front of you wherever you work, whether it's in your office or your desk. Tape it on the wall and see it every day, right? Because your brain we're so primitive, like we have to see the goal. That's why we call it a vision, right? We have to see it until we can achieve it. So writing help, right? So writing down your goals, saying it out loud, putting it in a past tense, reciting it. And what else helps with our visual brain is to actually have a picture of what you're trying to achieve, right? If you're a real estate investor like me and you want to invest in 100 rental units or whatever, go ahead and put a picture of that, right? Picture and figuratively what that looks like to you, and allow your brain to your eyes to actually see it, so that it becomes that much more real, and that your brain is going to search for ways for you to achieve that goal. Okay, so guys, that's pretty much it for the day. I know it's really quick and short, but I wanted to keep it nice and sweet so that you guys can actually follow through what we're saying and take this seriously. I know it sounds hokey. I know it sounds cheesy. It sounds like one of those self-help gurus, right? What they'll suggest. But I'm telling you guys, this is something that I've been using to have achieved vast majority of my achievements. So the properties that I own, right? The amount of money that I'm making, the success that I'm having is all because I've been able to achieve goals or set goals in a proper way to train myself to ultimately take action towards that goal. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it for me. I will see you guys tomorrow night for day 13. We're going to talk about how to build multiple streams of income. So you may want to be there if you want to do that. So guys, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit like on this video because we got a ton of amazing videos coming out, whether it's real estate investing, business development, or personal development. We got lots of things coming ahead. So definitely do subscribe, and we appreciate you guys. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. All right, take care.